Behind the news on Antarctica, we take a once-in-a-lifetime trip to the frozen continent. Hi, I'm Krista Eleftherio. Welcome to this Behind the News look at Antarctica. We'll be looking at all sorts of interesting things, including how to get there, the geology and some of the wildlife. Antarctica is not a place many people would think of for a holiday. For a start, it's a very long way away, and if you want to stay, it usually means going there by ship, which can take a couple of weeks. But as reporter Nicole Johnston found out, getting there is half the fun.
A big ship, 100 people, all taking a trip, some for a whole year. It can be sad saying goodbye to family and friends, but it's also rather exciting. The ship leaves Hobart behind and the Australian coast disappears. We won't see land for a couple of weeks. It actually gets pretty boring on the ship. There's nothing much to do but sleep, watch movies and eat. And there's plenty of food. The ship is now in one of the world's roughest seas. This is the Southern Ocean. When the waves start rolling the ship, cooking food is difficult, but the chefs have to keep working.
Well, I'm afraid the riot that would ensue after closing down for our food would be a lot worse than anything Mother Nature would throw us out there.
Then finally we wake up to snow and ice. Outside it's about 0 degrees. The ship now has to break its way through metres of thick ice. These two massive engines power the ship, pushing it up onto the ice. The weight of the bow then crushes and breaks through the ice. I'm in the engine room with Marius Fenger, and this noisy spinning thing turns the propeller which pushes the ship along.
This is one of the few areas where there's only just the steel of the hull that's separating us from the water on the outside.
Later in the day we're surrounded by huge icebergs. The weather gets better. Birds are flying around the ship. They're called Antarctic petrels. And now we can see the coast of Antarctica. Since hitting the ice, the mood on board has dramatically improved. Almost everyone agrees the long sea voyage is worth it because nothing quite beats the excitement of crunching through the ice and spotting the Antarctic coastline for the first time.
Well, just looking out there to a penguin just at the side, that's just amazing. The vastness, the sunshine still up at 10 o'clock at night, it's just another world that's just down on our doorstep and we don't even know it.
One of the great sea traditions is a King Neptune ceremony to welcome all the people who've never been to Antarctica before. This strange-looking guy and his 2 assistants welcome everyone to the ice by making them kiss a fish and have Vegemite rubbed in their hair. But a couple of nights later, about 30 people lose their hair. It's shaved, raising $11,000 for charity. The pink beard goes for $2,000. Once in Antarctica, helicopters are used to fly scientists into the mountains and onto the ice. But first the technicians have to get the choppers ready, and it's not an easy job.
When you get in extreme cold conditions and you can't actually work in gloves, so you have to take work in bare hands or something, and it gets very, very cold. And sometimes metal does stick to your skin.
Finally, the ship arrives. We're at Davis Station, and a year's worth of food and supplies has to be unloaded. It's trucked to the station, everything 20 people need to live in this hostile environment. That sure is a lot of unpacking.
Well, Nicole eventually did get unpacked and began to understand how different life is in this very cold environment. Antarctica is a scientist's paradise, so she joined some geologists on a helicopter trip to look at some very old rocks.
flying along the Antarctic coastline in a helicopter would have to be the flight of your life. Out one window you can see the ice plateau and dangerous crevasses. Fall down one of these and you'd be lost forever. Out the other window is a frozen sea with icebergs stuck in the middle. After flying 200 kilometres, we arrive at the Stillwell Hills. We're here on a mission to collect rocks. This is Jeff, and he's the first geologist I meet. Today, Jeff is taking bags of rock back to Australia. But why come all this way to get a few stones?
Oh, they fit in pretty well, don't they?
Actually, that's not all he's taking back. To protect the environment, you can't leave any waste behind in Antarctica.
Okay, so the recyclables are all going back to the ship.
That's correct.
Even the poo has to go out. A lot of us wonder what makes volcanoes explode. What is the centre of the Earth really like? Jeff is here trying to find out. Why? Well, he knows that these Antarctic rocks were once buried deep in the Earth's crust.
The deepest mines only go down about 1.5 kilometres, and so our inability to actually travel into the Earth greatly limits our understanding of what's actually happening in the deep crust even, and anything below that. To actually understand anything about that, we have to go and look at areas that were once there.
For example, this volcano called Mount Etna erupted last year in Sicily. Some of the magma obviously gets out, but a lot of it gets stuck further down inside, about 30 kilometres deep actually.
Although we can see the magma coming out of the surface of the Earth, we still don't directly know how the magma makes it from where it forms in the mantle to the surface of the Earth. At least we don't know it. There's arguments about it.
But in Antarctica, Jeff is finding rocks from volcanoes that have eroded away. Stuff that was once buried deep down is now up on the Earth's surface. The helicopters take off with the rocks, and Jeff is now going to make us a cup of tea. It doesn't rain in Antarctica, so you have to melt ice to get water. That means you have to hike to an iceberg and chip off some ice. It's a lot of effort for a drink. Can you hear the ice crackling in the boiling water? That's the sound of air bubbles that were trapped in the ice for millions of years, just like the rocks. Behind Mawson Station are some different rocks in the Frames Mountains. We're not flying this time, but taking a rough trip across the ice in this bumpy hagland. The ice in the sky is so white that it's hard to tell the difference. John has been to Antarctica before, but this is Trish's first trip.
Hey, this is going to be great. I should point out that there was a hut up here that was blown away, and I've been up in that saddle there in winds you couldn't stand up in.
It's an overcast, freezing day at the top of the mountain. John and Trish are trying to find quartz. Somehow, bits of ancient quartz rock will let them find out how fast the Antarctic ice is melting. When they find it, they smash off pieces to take home.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. That gives us the crust, as well as a whole pile here. That'll do us.
This is how it works. A mountain is covered in ice. Gradually, the ice melts. Rays from the sun hit the rocks as they're exposed. And there's a series of fancy tests that can work out how long ago sunshine first hit the rock. That means John and Trish can figure out how long ago ice melted away from this mountain. Amazing. If they find out that the rocks here, let's say, were first exposed to sunlight 20,000 years ago, then the ice must have reached this level 20,000 years ago. If the ice level is now down here, then this is how far it has melted over the past 20,000 years. Who really cares? Well, I'm sure you've heard of global warming. Scientists need to know what the Earth's climate was like in the past. Then we can compare it with today's climate to find out if our planet is warming up. The ice might be melting faster these days. It's incredible what some scientists get up to and how far some people will go for a good rock.
Isn't that amazing? Well, the seals in Antarctica certainly don't want the Earth to get any warmer. They're quite used to the freezing temperatures down there. What they're not used to, though, are the humans, and it's stressing them out.
The life of a seal looks pretty relaxed, but some people worry that they do get stressed by tourists. To get to Antarctica, first you have to spend 2 weeks on a ship like this. Then there's a nice helicopter ride. Eventually you get to Brooks Hut, that red spot down there. Tamara, her sister Mary-Elaine and Kate have been living here while they study Weddell seals.
Let's go out and check the 2 seals we did yesterday. Yeah, that sounds good. I love being out in the field, so it's great for me. And yeah, we work out in these conditions nearly every day, get out there and do our bit.
Not far away, female Weddell seals and their pups are hanging out on the ice. Tamara and Kate are studying how seals react when people walk up to them.
A lot of people come to Antarctica, more and more tourism, and a lot of these people want to basically get up close to the seals, take photos, that close approach, and what we want to know is whether we're disturbing them.
Tamara wears white to blend in with the ice. She's trying to work out a safe distance at which people can view the seals. She's brought a video camera along to film the seals, but they're too lazy to move much today.
Okay, Kate, we're ready for approach, so if you can start the approach.
Kate sneaks up to the seals and Tamara keeps filming. Even the slightest movement could mean the seals are stressed. Researchers also tranquilise some seals to attach heart rate monitors. A fast heartbeat means they could be frightened by people.
We then do approaches, single person group approach, and then what I'll do is match the behaviour of the animal to the heart rate and basically see if there's any signs of stress or disturbance.
Seals also live in the water, but noisy motorbikes and these haglins revving around on the ice could make it difficult for seals to hear each other underwater. To find out, Tamara and her sister Mary-Elaine need to listen to the seals.
The acoustic part of it is again to look at the reactions of seals, whether basically our activity on the ice making noise is causing any problems for the seals underneath, so whether they need to vocalise more, whether they decide to be quiet because it's too noisy.
They find a spot on the ice and drill a hole. Then they drop in a waterproof microphone and Tamara records their sounds on a tape. If male seals can't hear each other, they could end up fighting over the same female.
He's saying, like, leave me alone, sort of thing, this is my area, the other seal doesn't hear it or decides to contest more, so it might eventually cause some problems with territory and therefore mating chances.
Watching hours of seals on television sounds quite boring. Luckily, Tamara doesn't seem to mind. She'll spend the next couple of years analysing all the videos. And at the end, she'll decide how close people should be allowed to get.
Oh, it's been excellent. They're amazing animals, very beautiful, and it's great to be able to have the experience to get up close and see them, see their reactions, and learn how they're sort of, living in this environment and coping in such an extreme cold.
I think I'd need some pretty warm clothes to cope with such extreme cold. Anyway, that's it for our Behind the News look at Antarctica. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you next time.